Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. Today, we're going to talk about Rukhmar in World of Warcraft lore. Now if I talk about anything in this video you want to learn more about, be sure to check out links to other videos I've done about those things in the description, and fall into the rabbit hole that is my channel. After the Evergrowth was defeated by the Colossals, animal life had a chance to take root in Draenor again. Due to large amounts of the elemental force of spirit in Draenor, that was no longer being drained by the Evergrowth. In Arak, a massive stone spire, 3 godlike creatures took form, similar to Azeroth's wild gods. The wind serpent Sethe, who was touched by the void, the raven Anzu, who wielded arcane magics, and the firebird Rukhmar. Rukhmar was glorious and could fly higher than the others, and was touched with the primordial force of the light. White hot fire continuously rippled over her wings and could summon flames that would destroy life or nourish it. These 3 creatures kept mostly to themselves until Anzu called together the other 2 with a plan to transform Arak into a sanctuary for birds of all kinds. As one, the 3 drove the Primals and Breakers from Arak, and the region flourished for avian creatures, with Sethe, Anzu, and Rukhmar as the caretakers of the land. Rukhmar developed ties with the most beautiful birds, the Kaliri, treating them as her children. She and the Kaliri spent most of their time perched on the apex of Arak, basking in the sun. She was noble, but arrogant, and disliked the creatures who dwelled in and around the forest. Over the years, Sethe became envious of Rukhmar. Sethe couldn't soar through the clouds as Rukhmar could, and did not want to live out his existence in her shadow. Sethe planned to strike down Rukhmar and take her powers for himself, and tried to get Anzu in on his plan. But Anzu was not envious of Rukhmar. Anzu loved her. So, Anzu warned Rukhmar of Sethe's plan. So when Sethe finally attacked, they were ready. Rukhmar burned Sethe's wings to ash. So, as he was plummeting, Anzu tore out his eyes. But Sethe wove a curse through his own body, one that would infect the land itself. Anzu didn't want it to destroy Arak, so he consumed Sethe. His body shriveled and twisted, and he lost his ability to fly, but contained the curse. Where he had fallen now became the corrupted region of Sethekk Hollow. Anzu, embarrassed with his new form, disappeared into the forest, and whenever Rukhmar called, Anzu refused to show himself. Rukhmar was humbled by Anzu's sacrifice, and she left Arak, not being able to find Anzu, but decided in order to honor him, she would create a new race. Rukhmar drew on her own life energies to transform some of her Kaliri followers into the Arakkoa, or the heirs of Arak. They were the embodiment of Rukhmar's grace and Anzu's intellect. Rukhmar intended for the Arakkoa to one day return to Arak, but expended too much of her essence to create them. She was not as powerful as she once was, and would one day grow old and die. For many generations, Rukhmar watched the Arakkoa from afar. She would sometimes commune with the race to guide them, telling stories of Arak, Sethe's evil, and Anzu's heroism. She also taught them ways to command the light, and they in turn saw Rukhmar as the source of their light magic. The Arakkoa developed many of their primitive customs around the worshipping of Rukhmar. They revered her as the sun goddess, but as the Arakkoa flourished, Rukhmar faded. Before she died, she urged them to claim Arak for themselves, and led them there. As they arrived, Rukhmar breathed her last, burning like a second sun in the sky. The Arakkoa took Rukhmar's passing as a sign of ascendancy, and vowed to create a grand civilization in her honor, the Apexis. The Apexis later on created a great weapon that harnessed the sun, and named it after their goddess, the breath of Rukhmar. They used it to destroy Taala, the Sporemound, and the Evergrowth. This created a golden age for Apexis society, and created a sun temple around this weapon. During this time, a group of Anhari priests found the charred remains of Rukhmar, and used their magic to resurrect their goddess. They only succeeded partially, being only a sliver of her previous power and intelligence. However, they worshipped her as their goddess reborn, infusing her with light powers so she could soar the skies for millennia. The second Rukhmar's death isn't certain. It likely came as a result of the old Horde's attack on Skyreach, or Draenor's transformation to Outland, as she is not alive now. But the Arakkoas, again, used the breath of Rukhmar, but this time on their own people, which destroyed their civilization in a great civil war. When the Arakkoan civilization was finally revived, it was done with a group of Arakkoa who were dark, troubled, and superstitious, and called themselves the High Arakkoa. The Anhar priesthood still worshipped Rukhmar, but her teachings had become distorted by time, and more used to control their people, to gain her favor, then show them the way. This was briefly stopped by High King Terokk, who was seen as a reincarnation of Rukhmar herself. He was eventually dispatched by the adherents of Rukhmar, because they wanted to be the only ones who could speak in Rukhmar's name, creating new leadership in Arakkoan society. This was led by the adherents of Rukhmar, a cult-like organization that controlled Arakkoan society in Arak and had aspirations to control Draenor. The new Arakkoan civilization had a holiday called Rukhmar's Grace, when the sun was the highest and the days were long and bright. It was during this time that all adherents were required to attend a ceremony and perform rites. It is rumored that Rukhmar had a progeny, Rukhran, who soared the skies above Arak. Rukhran has an affinity for solar energy and can absorb the sun's power to unleash a beam to incinerate their enemies. Rukhmar's veneration among the Arakkoa eventually decreased in favor of other deities, such as Anzu, Taala, Sethe, and an unnamed old god. There's the legacy of Rukhmar. For being a god, you'd think there would be more lore and story, but she died, was reincarnated, and died again. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you should check me out on other platforms such as Instagram, Twitter, join our community on Discord, and especially join our community on Twitch. We have so much fun there, and we'd love for you to join us. All those links are above me and in the description. I truly hope you have a wonderful day, basking in the grace of Rukhmar. I'll see you later. Bye.